Sir, I need you to move to economy. This seat is reserved for our platinum member. 30,000 feet above Chicago, Marcus Wellington sits in seat 2A, reviewing quarterly reports on his tablet. The Wall Street Journal lies folded beside his coffee cup. A blonde flight attendant approaches with a practiced smile. I'm sorry, but you'll need to gather your things now. Marcus looks up calmly. His boarding pass clearly shows first class, purchased 3 weeks ago. The attendant's smile fades as he doesn't immediately comply. Around them, passengers begin to notice. Phones emerge from pockets. A woman in 3B starts her live stream. Drama happening in first class, right now. Marcus closes his tablet, sets down his coffee. His expression remains composed, unreadable. Have you ever been dismissed before anyone knew what you were capable of achieving? This is one of those real-life stories that reveals how Black stories of discrimination still unfold today. These touching stories remind us that life stories of prejudice happen even at altitude. Jessica Morrison, 26, blonde hair pulled into regulation bun, stands with clipboard pressed against her Navy uniform. Her smile carries the artificial warmth of customer service training. Behind her, passengers crane necks to observe the unfolding drama. Mr. Davidson's assistant called ahead. He requires this specific seat for medical reasons. I'll need you to move immediately. Marcus Wellington, 42, wearing a charcoal Tom Ford suit, examines his boarding pass. The ticket clearly displays Seat 2A First Class with today's date. His Platinum Elite status number gleams in gold lettering. I purchased this seat 3 weeks ago through your premium booking system. Jessica's posture stiffens. Her voice drops to a whisper, though nearby passengers lean closer to catch her words. Sir, please don't make this more difficult than necessary. Mr. Davidson is a very important customer. The woman in 3B, Sarah Chen, adjusts her phone angle for better live stream coverage. Her viewer count reads 847 and climbing. Comments flood the screen. What's happening? Is this discrimination? This looks bad. Marcus opens his leather briefcase, revealing organized documents and a sleek laptop. A business card holder sits prominently in the front pocket. The briefcase bears a subtle embossed logo, WG Aviation. Ma'am, I'd like to speak with your supervisor. Jessica's jaw tightens. She glances toward the galley where Brad Thompson, head flight attendant, organizes meal service. At 43, Brad carries 20 years of airline experience and zero patience for passenger complaints. I am handling this situation appropriately. You have 30 seconds to comply. Marcus pulls out his iPhone, checking a text message. Board meeting moved to 6 p.m. sharp. Don't be late. Critical merger discussion. Sarah. He types a quick response. May be delayed. Handling personnel issue. The captain's voice crackles through the intercom. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll begin our descent into Los Angeles in approximately 10 minutes. Flight attendants, please prepare for arrival procedures. Jessica waves toward Brad, who approaches with measured steps. His expression suggests annoyance at being interrupted from his duties. What seems to be the problem here? This gentleman refuses to vacate seat 2A for Mr. Davidson's medical accommodation. Brad studies Marcus with practiced assessment. His eyes linger on the expensive suit, the leather briefcase, the platinum boarding pass. Yet something in his expression suggests skepticism about Marcus's belonging in first class. Sir, I need you to understand that Mr. Davidson has been flying with us for 15 years. His loyalty deserves recognition. Sarah Chen's livestream viewer count jumps to 1,200. Comments accelerate. This is disgusting. Know your place. Someone call the news. Record everything. Marcus remains seated, hands folded calmly in his lap. His voice carries quiet authority without aggression. I'd like to see the medical documentation requiring this specific seat assignment. Brad's face reddens slightly. Jessica shifts her weight, clipboard trembling in her grip. We don't discuss other passengers' medical information. Company policy. Then I'll need your names and employee identification numbers for my records. The request catches both attendants off guard. Passengers throughout first class watch the exchange with growing interest. A businessman in 1C discreetly activates his phone camera. Brad straightens his shoulders, asserting authority through posture. I'm Brad Thompson, senior flight attendant. Employee ID 47221. This is Jessica Morrison, ID 62,847. And you are? Hmm? Marcus reaches into his jacket pocket, withdrawing a Mont Blanc pen. He writes their names in neat handwriting on the back of his boarding pass. Marcus Wellington. Neither attendant recognizes the name. Jessica checks her passenger manifest, finding his reservation listed under standard booking procedures. The captain announces, "Flight crew, prepare cabin for descent. Landing in Los Angeles in 8 minutes." From economy class, a commotion approaches. Richard Davidson, 54, silver-haired, and wearing a navy blazer, strides toward first class with entitled confidence. His assistant follows, typing furiously on her tablet. "Thank you for handling this situation professionally. I have a crucial merger meeting at L." Davidson eyes Marcus with unconcealed irritation, as if viewing an obstacle rather than a person. Some people just don't understand their place in the hierarchy. Sarah's live stream explodes with comments. Viewer count hits 2,156. Screenshots circulate on Twitter. The hashtag #FirstClassRacism begins trending in Los Angeles. Marcus slowly closes his briefcase, ensuring the clasp clicks audibly. He stands, straightening his tie with deliberate precision. His movements carry dignity, despite the humiliation. "I'll move to economy, but first may I have everyone's business cards?" The request puzzles the group. Jessica fumbles in her pocket, producing a standard SkyFirst Airlines crew card. Brad hands over his supervisor credentials. Davidson waves dismissively. "I don't carry cards for situations like this." Marcus accepts the cards, studying them carefully before sliding them into his wallet. His phone buzzes with another message. "Wellington Group Board convening early. Airport conference room reserved." Executive assistant. He types back, "Cancel boardroom. We'll handle this matter in flight. Is there anything else you require before I relocate?" Jessica and Brad exchange glances, sensing something unusual in Marcus's composed demeanor. Davidson taps his watch impatiently. "Just move already. Some of us have important business to conduct." The captain's final announcement echoes through the cabin. "Flight attendants, take your seats for landing. 7 minutes to touchdown." Marcus gathers his belongings with unhurried precision. His briefcase, his tablet, his Wall Street Journal. He pauses at the aisle, turning back to face the group. "Thank you for this educational experience. I'll be sure to document everything thoroughly." As he moves toward economy, Sarah's live stream captures his dignified exit. Comments pour in supporting him, condemning the crew's behavior, demanding accountability. None of them realize they've just humiliated the owner of their airline. Marcus Wellington settles into seat 14B, wedged between a college student wearing headphones and a businessman reading emails. The economy cabin buzzes with whispered conversations about the first-class incident. Passengers crane their necks, trying to glimpse the man who was publicly displaced. Sarah Chen continues her live stream from 3B, narrating events for her growing audience of 3,847 viewers. Comments stream across her screen faster than she can read them. "This is absolutely unbelievable, guys. They literally kicked this well-dressed black man out of first class for some white guy who claims medical needs." Meanwhile, Richard Davidson spreads documents across the vacated seat 2A, phone pressed to his ear, discussing quarterly projections with his Los Angeles team. "Make sure the Henderson Group representatives understand we're acquiring their Pacific routes. This deal closes tomorrow." Jessica Morrison moves through the aisle, collecting pre-landing items while stealing glances toward economy. Something about Marcus's calm reaction unsettles her. Most displaced passengers argue, demand compensation, threaten complaints. His quiet acceptance feels ominous. Brad Thompson approaches the cockpit, updating Captain Rodriguez about the seating situation. "We handled a minor passenger displacement. Everything's under control for landing." Through the cockpit radio, air traffic control confirms. "SkyFirst 447, you're cleared for approach. Runway 24 left." In economy, Marcus opens his laptop, connecting to the aircraft's premium Wi-Fi. His screen displays a familiar interface, SkyFirst Airlines' internal employee portal. He navigates to the Human Resources section, accessing disciplinary procedures and company policies. Section 12.4 of the Employee Handbook appears on his screen. Anti-discrimination policy. Any employee found guilty of discriminatory behavior based on race, gender, religion, or ethnic origin faces immediate termination. He screenshots the policy, saving it to a folder labeled Sky First Incident Documentation. The college student beside him notices the screen. Dude, are you like researching the airline? That's some serious multitasking. Marcus smiles politely without elaborating. His phone buzzes with a text from his executive assistant, Sarah Williams. Legal team standing by. PR department monitoring social media mentions. What's your status? He types back, in-flight personnel issue. Prepare emergency board session upon landing. Sarah Chen's live stream viewership explodes to 8,932 as her footage gets shared across Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. The hashtag #SkyFirstDiscrimination trends nationally. Comments flood in from verified accounts, aviation industry insiders, and civil rights organizations. At Aviation Today tweets, investigating reports of passenger discrimination on Sky First Airlines Flight 447, video evidence circulating. At Civil Rights Now retweets, this is 2024, how are we still seeing this behavior? Jessica notices passengers throughout the cabin focused on their phones, typing rapidly. The energy feels charged, hostile. She approaches Brad with growing concern. I think this situation might be bigger than we realized. Everyone's on their phones. Brad dismisses her worry with professional arrogance. Passengers complain about everything these days. It'll blow over once we land. In the cockpit, Captain Rodriguez receives an unusual call from Sky First Airlines corporate headquarters. Captain, this is Director Martinez from Crisis Management. We're monitoring social media reports about an incident on your flight. What's your status? Minor passenger seating dispute. My crew handled it professionally. We need details immediately upon landing. This story is trending nationally. The captain's expression shifts from routine to concerned. He's piloted commercial flights for 23 years without a single passenger relations incident reaching corporate attention. Marcus continues working on his laptop, now accessing SkyFirst's quarterly financial reports. Revenue figures, profit margins, customer satisfaction scores, discrimination complaint statistics. His executive assistant forwards him real-time social media monitoring reports. The data tells a troubling story. SkyFirst customer satisfaction dropped to 3.2 out of 5 stars over the past 6 months. Discrimination complaints increased 47% in Q3. Legal settlement costs reached $2,300,000, 0 cents annually. Davidson ends his phone call, satisfaction evident in his posture. He believes his influence resolved the seating problem efficiently. Jessica brings him champagne and warm towels, treating him like airline royalty. Thank you for your loyalty to Sky First, Mr. Davidson. We always take care of our most valued customers. That's why I've flown exclusively with your airline for 15 years. You understand hierarchy and proper service. Unknown to Davidson, his transportation contracts with major corporations total $4,700,000, 0 cents annually through SkyFirst's corporate booking system. His company, Davidson Industries, relies heavily on airline partnerships for executive travel. Sarah's livestream captures Davidson's smug satisfaction, contrasting sharply with Marcus's dignified displacement. Comments explode with outrage. This man is disgusting. How is this legal in 2024? Someone needs to identify these people. Justice for the man they kicked out. The aircraft's wheels touch LAX runway 24 left with a gentle bump. Passengers applaud, following airline tradition. The captain's voice announces, successful arrival in Los Angeles. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Los Angeles International Airport. Local time is 3:47 p.m. As the plane taxis toward the gate, Marcus closes his laptop and carefully organizes his documents. He pulls out his business card holder, selecting several cards from different companies under the Wellington Group umbrella. His phone displays 17 missed calls from board members, legal counsel, and public relations directors. The SkyFirst incident has triggered Wellington Group's crisis management protocols. Jessica begins preparing for passenger deplaning, still unaware that her actions have created a corporate emergency. Brad reviews standard post-flight procedures, oblivious to the career-ending mistake he's made. Sarah Chen ends her live stream with a promise to follow up on the story. Her final viewer count: 12,367 people witnessed Marcus's humiliation in real time. I'll keep you updated on what happens next, guys. This can't be the end of the story. Aircraft at gate. The seatbelt sign chimes off. Passengers begin gathering belongings, but the usual deplanning rush feels subdued. Many continue recording, sensing the story hasn't concluded. Marcus remains seated while first-class passengers file past. Davidson strides confidently toward the exit, briefcase in hand, completely unaware of the reckoning approaching. Jessica and Brad prepare for their standard post-flight duties: cleaning, restocking, preparing for the next departure. Neither expects their employment to end before sunset. As Marcus finally stands to deplane, he notices several passengers waiting in the jetway, phones ready to record his exit. The story has transformed from isolated incident to public spectacle. The college student who sat beside him offers unexpected support. "Hey man, what happened up front was seriously messed up. I hope you get justice." Marcus nods appreciatively but says nothing. Justice will come, but not in the way anyone expects. He exits the aircraft with quiet dignity, carrying his briefcase and the ammunition to dismantle careers. The real confrontation awaits in the terminal, where corporate power structures will shift dramatically. Behind him, Jessica and Brad continue their routine duties, unaware they've just discriminated against the person who signs their paychecks. LAX Terminal 4, Gate 47, 4:02 p.m. Marcus Wellington walks through the jetway with measured steps, his leather briefcase containing documents that will reshape SkyFirst Airlines' leadership structure. Passengers from Flight 447 cluster near the gate, phones recording his dignified exit. Sarah Chen approaches him directly, live stream still active with 15,203 viewers watching. "Excuse me, sir? I'm the one who filmed what happened. I'm so sorry that occurred. Would you like to share your side of the story?" Marcus pauses, considering her offer. His expression remains calm, professional. "Thank you for documenting the truth. What's your name?" "Sarah Chen. I'm a travel blogger. This footage is going viral across every platform. Ms. Chen, in approximately 10 minutes, you'll witness something remarkable. Keep recording." Behind them, Jessica Morrison and Brad Thompson emerge from the aircraft, pulling their crew luggage toward the employee corridor. Davidson strides past with entitled confidence, heading toward ground transportation. Marcus opens his briefcase, withdrawing a business card holder. He selects a pristine white card embossed with gold lettering. Marcus Wellington, Chief Executive Officer, Wellington Group. Sarah's eyes widen as she reads the card. Her live stream comments explode. "Oh my God, he's a CO. Plot twist incoming. This is about to get real." Wellington Group? I've heard of that company. We own 47 subsidiaries across transportation, hospitality, and logistics, including the airline that just discriminated against me. Sarah's phone nearly slips from her trembling hands. The revelation sends shockwaves through her live audience as viewer count jumps to 18,934. Marcus approaches the gate counter where SkyFirst Airlines staff process delayed flights and passenger complaints. Jennifer Walsh, gate supervisor, looks up from her computer screen. "Can I help you, sir?" "I need to speak with your station manager immediately. There's been a serious personnel incident on Flight 467. Jennifer notices the growing crowd of passengers with phones, sensing an escalating situation. "May I have your name and the nature of your complaint?" Marcus places his business card on the counter. Jennifer's professional demeanor shifts to confusion, then recognition, then panic. "Mr. Wellington?" "Sir, we weren't expecting..." "Where is Station Manager Rodriguez?" "He's in his office. I'll call him immediately." Jennifer's hands shake as she dials extension 4847. Through the terminal speakers, a page echoes. "Station Manager Rodriguez to Gate 47. Station Manager Rodriguez to Gate 47, priority." Meanwhile, Jessica and Brad continue toward the employee break room, discussing their next flight assignment scheduled for 6:30 p.m. to Denver. Neither notices the commotion at the gate counter. Station Manager Carlos Rodriguez, a 20-year SkyFirst veteran, hurries toward Gate 47. He's handled passenger complaints ranging from lost luggage to medical emergencies, but nothing in his experience prepared him for this moment. He spots Marcus standing calmly beside the gate counter, surrounded by recording passengers. The professional bearing, expensive suit, and commanding presence suggest serious trouble. "Mr. Wellington, sir, this is completely unexpected. How can I assist you?" "We need to discuss the discriminatory behavior of your Flight 447 crew. Specifically, employees Jessica Morrison and Brad Thompson." Rodriguez's stomach drops. He's received crisis management training about discrimination incidents, understanding their potential for devastating corporate damage. "Sir, let's move to my office for privacy." "No. This conversation happens here, publicly, where the discrimination occurred." Sarah Chen adjusts her phone angle, ensuring clear audio for her 22,851 viewers. Comments flood faster than she can read. "Owns the airline that discriminated against him. This is the best plot twist ever. Those flight attendants are so fired." Marcus opens his briefcase, withdrawing a folder labeled Sky First Airlines Acquisition Documentation. He hands Rodriguez a copy of the merger agreement dated 18 months prior. The Wellington Group purchased Sky First Airlines for $847 million, 0 cents. I am the majority shareholder and chairman of the board. Rodriguez studies the documents, his face draining of color. The signatures, corporate seals, and legal language confirm Marcus's claims. He's just witnessed his employees discriminate against their ultimate boss. "Sir, I had no knowledge of the incident until this moment. Please accept my sincere apologies." Apologies don't address systemic discrimination. Your crew violated company policy section 12.4, Federal Aviation Regulations, and basic human dignity. Behind them, Jessica and Brad finally notice the crowd at gate 47. They approach curiously, still unaware of the unfolding catastrophe. "What's all the commotion about?" Rodriguez rarely handles passenger complaints personally. As they draw closer, Jessica recognizes Marcus from the flight. Her confusion deepens, seeing him in intense discussion with their station manager. "That's the passenger from seat 2A. Why is he still here?" Brad squints at the scene, noticing the corporate documents, the recording phones, the station manager's distressed expression. Something's not right. Rodriguez looks terrified. Marcus continues his methodical presentation, withdrawing quarterly discrimination reports from his briefcase. Sky First received 47 discrimination complaints in Q3 alone. Legal settlements cost $2,300,000, 0 cents annually. Customer satisfaction dropped to 3.2 stars, largely due to service equality issues. Rodriguez nods helplessly. Recognizing the corporate data, he reports monthly to headquarters. "Sir, we've implemented sensitivity training programs. Training without enforcement is meaningless. Your crew just proved that." Sarah's live stream viewer count peaks at 31,402 as word spreads across social media platforms. Aviation industry journalists begin reaching out for official statements. Marcus pulls out his phone, speed dialing his executive assistant. "Sarah, it's Marcus. Convene an emergency board meeting for 5 p.m. Conference room A at LAX corporate offices. Full disciplinary review for Sky First personnel." He ends the call, turning back to Rodriguez. "You have 45 minutes to locate Jessica Morrison and Brad Thompson. They're required at the board meeting for formal termination procedures." Rodriguez radio crackles. "Station manager, we have Jessica and Brad approaching your location." The two flight attendants push through the crowd, finally comprehending the severity of their situation. Jessica's face goes pale, seeing Marcus's business card on the counter. "Is that? No, that can't be real." Brad reads over her shoulder. "Marcus Wellington, Chief Executive Officer, Wellington Group. Wellington Group owns our airline." The realization hits simultaneously. They've discriminated against their own CEO during a routine flight. Their careers, pensions, and professional reputations face immediate termination. Jessica's voice cracks. "Mr. Wellington, sir, I had no idea. If I had known..." "You had no idea because you assumed I didn't belong in first class based solely on my appearance." Marcus's tone remains calm, factual, devastating. "Your assumption violated company policy, federal regulations, and basic professional standards." Warning. Brad attempts damage control. Sir, this was clearly a misunderstanding. We can resolve this internally. There's no misunderstanding. Ms. Chen's live stream documented everything. 28,000 people witnessed your discriminatory behavior in real time. Sarah holds up her phone, showing the viewer count and comment stream. Both flight attendants realize their actions have been broadcast globally. From across the terminal, Davidson approaches with his driver, unaware of the corporate earthquake occurring at Gate 47. He spots the crowd and recognizes Marcus at the center. What's that troublemaker doing now? Some people never know when to quit. His driver, Jorge Martinez, has worked LAX transportation for 12 years and recognizes developing situations. Mr. Davidson, that looks like serious business. Maybe we should leave quickly. But Davidson's arrogance compels him forward, eager to witness Marcus receive additional humiliation. I want to see how this ends. He needs to learn respect for authority. As Davidson approaches the crowd, Marcus notices him and smiles quietly. The final revelation approaches. One that will cost Davidson far more than airline loyalty points. LAX Corporate Conference Room A, 4:47 p.m. The emergency board meeting convenes in SkyFirst Airlines Executive Conference Room, a glass-walled space overlooking the terminal's bustling activity. Marcus Wellington sits at the head of a mahogany table, flanked by his legal counsel and Wellington Group executives who arrived within 30 minutes of his call. Station manager Rodriguez escorts Jessica Morrison and Brad Thompson through the door, both wearing expressions of professional dread. Neither has showered or changed from their uniforms. Jessica clutches tissues, her makeup smudged from tears. Sarah Chen positions herself in the adjacent corridor, live streaming through the conference room's glass walls. Her viewer count stabilizes at 42,167 as news outlets begin covering the story in real time. Marcus opens a leather portfolio containing financial documents, legal precedents, and employee disciplinary procedures. His movements carry the precision of someone who has dismantled careers before. Miss Morrison, Mr. Thompson, please state your employee identification numbers for the record. Jessica's voice, barely audible, 62,847. Brad straightens defensively. 47,291. Sir, I want to emphasize that our actions followed standard passenger accommodation procedures. Marcus's attorney, Rebecca Chen, no relation to Sarah, activates a digital recorder and spreads documents across the table. Standard procedures don't include racial profiling. Let's review the evidence. A large monitor descends from the ceiling, displaying Sarah's live stream footage from Flight 447. The video shows Jessica's initial approach, her dismissive tone, and Brad's authoritative intervention. Comments from viewers provide real-time public reaction. Marcus connects his laptop to the display system, revealing SkyFirst Airlines' corporate structure and financial performance metrics. Wellington Group acquired SkyFirst Airlines 18 months ago for $847 million, 0 cents. Current quarterly revenue, $2,100 million, 0 cents. Customer satisfaction rating, 3.2 out of 5 stars. The numbers fill the screen in stark accusatory detail. Discrimination complaints have increased 47% since Q1. Legal settlement costs, $2,300,000, 0 cents annually. Today's incident adds potential exposure of $15, 0 cents, 20 million in punitive damages. Rodriguez shifts uncomfortably. Recognizing data he reports monthly to corporate headquarters without realizing he was reporting to Marcus directly. Your discriminatory behavior threatens shareholder value, regulatory compliance, and brand reputation. Jessica attempts an apology. Mr. Wellington, if I had known you were our CEO... Stop. Your conditional respect is exactly the problem. You should treat every passenger with dignity, regardless of their corporate position. Attorney Rebecca Chen presents Federal Aviation Administration regulations on passenger rights and anti-discrimination policies. FAA Regulation 14 CFR 382.7 prohibits discrimination based on race, color, national origin, religion, sex, or ancestry in air transportation. Violations carry fines up to $37,377, 0 cents per incident. She slides violation reports across the table. Jessica and Brad scan the documents, realizing the federal implications of their actions. Additionally, California Civil Code Section 51.7 provides for actual damages, attorney's fees, and punitive damages up to 3 times the amount of actual damages for discrimination in business establishment. Marcus retrieves another document from his briefcase. Employee Handbook, Section 12.4, Anti-Discrimination Policy. Any employee found guilty of discriminatory behavior faces immediate termination. No exceptions, no appeals process for clear violations. Through the conference room windows, Richard Davidson approaches with his driver, still unaware of the corporate proceedings targeting him. His entitled swagger suggests complete confidence in his airline loyalty protections. Marcus notices Davidson's arrival and smiles with quiet satisfaction. "Mr. Rodriguez, please invite Mr. Davidson to join our meeting. He's about to learn about consequences." Rodriguez hesitates. "Sir, he's not an employee. We can't compel his attendance." "He won't refuse, trust me." Rodriguez exits the conference room, approaching Davidson in the corridor. Sarah Chen captures their interaction on livestream as her viewer count climbs to 48,932. "Mr. Davidson?" Station Manager Rodriguez. "Mr. Wellington has requested your presence in our executive conference room." Davidson's arrogance peaks. "Wellington? That troublemaker from the flight? I'll gladly tell him what I think about passengers who don't know their place." Davidson strides into the conference room, expecting to deliver final humiliation to Marcus. Instead, he encounters a formal board meeting with legal counsel, corporate executives, and documentation spread across mahogany tables. "What is this circus? I don't have time for passenger complaint theater." Marcus stands, his presence commanding immediate attention. "Mr. Davidson, please be seated. We need to discuss your transportation arrangements." "My arrangements are fine. I fly first class, exclusively with SkyFirst because they understand customer hierarchy." Marcus activates his laptop, displaying Davidson Industries' corporate travel contracts with SkyFirst Airlines. "Your company's annual transportation budget with SkyFirst $4,700,000. Executive travel, cargo shipping, corporate charters." Davidson's confidence wavers as financial details appear on screen. Additionally, Wellington Group holds 23% equity stake in Davidson Industries through our investment portfolio. We're your second largest shareholder. The revelation strikes Davidson like a physical blow. His company's quarterly board meetings include Wellington Group representatives. His business operations depend partially on Marcus's. That's impossible. I would know our major shareholders." Attorney Rebecca Chen hands Davidson a stock ownership report dated 6 months prior. Wellington Group acquired the position through subsidiary purchases and proxy investments. Perfectly legal, fully disclosed to the SEC. Marcus returns to his seat, steepling his fingers with corporate authority. "Here are your options, Mr. Davidson. Accept a lifetime ban from SkyFirst Airlines with dignity, or face contract termination, shareholder pressure, and potential securities fraud investigation for misrepresenting your airline relationships to business partners." Davidson's face reddens with rage and humiliation. "You can't do this. I have rights. You have the right to face consequences for your discriminatory behavior. Nothing more." Marcus turns to Jessica and Brad, his tone shifting to administrative finality. "Ms. Morrison, Mr. Thompson, your employment with SkyFirst Airlines is terminated effective immediately. Security will escort you from the premises. Your final paychecks will include severance, as required by law. Nothing additional." Jessica breaks down completely. "Please, sir, I have student loans, rent payments. This job is everything I have. You should have considered those responsibilities before discriminating against passengers." Marcus addresses Station Manager Rodriguez, who remains employed but faces performance review. Effective Monday, SkyFirst implements mandatory bias recognition training for all customer-facing employees. 40 hours annually, no exceptions. He hands Rodriguez a comprehensive policy document. "We're installing real-time passenger feedback systems on every aircraft. Discrimination complaints trigger immediate investigation and suspension pending review. Additionally, We're establishing a $500,000 0 cents annual scholarship fund for underrepresented students pursuing aviation careers. Through the conference room windows, Sarah Chen's live stream captures the meeting's conclusion. Comments explode across her screen as viewers witness corporate justice in real time. This is the most satisfying thing I've ever seen. Justice served. At 30,000 feet. Those employees got what they deserved. CEO-level revenge is the best revenge. Marcus stands, gathering his documents with practiced efficiency. This meeting is concluded. Security will handle all departures. Ms. Chen, thank you for documenting truth. Your footage prevents future denials. As the participants file out, Davidson attempts one final desperate appeal. Marcus, we can work something out. Business to business. There's nothing to work out. Actions have consequences, Mr. Davidson. You're about to learn that lesson comprehensively. Jessica and Brad exit under security escort, their airline careers ending in corporate conference room humiliation. Davidson follows reluctantly, his privilege evaporating under legal and financial pressure. Marcus remains behind, reviewing quarterly reports that will now include today's discrimination incident, employee terminations, and policy implementations. His phone buzzes with a text from his executive assistant. Media requests flooding in. WSJ, CNN, MSNBC want statements. How should we respond? He types back. Standard corporate response. Emphasize policy enforcement, not personal revenge. Schedule press conference for tomorrow. The corporate showdown concludes with systematic transformation rather than emotional satisfaction. Marcus has proven that sustainable change requires structural power, not temporary victories. Outside the conference room, Sarah Chen ends her live stream with a promise to follow the story's continuing developments. Her final viewer count: 67,891 people witness corporate accountability in action. SkyFirst Airlines corporate headquarters, 9:43 p.m. The emergency board meeting concludes with Marcus Wellington standing before floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking LAX's runways. Aircraft taxi in organized patterns, carrying passengers who expect dignity regardless of their appearance or background. His phone displays 17 messages from major news outlets requesting interviews. CNN, Fox Business, The Wall Street Journal, and Aviation Week all want exclusive access to the story that's trending globally across social media platforms. Marcus dictates a response to his executive assistant through hands-free calling. Draft a press release emphasizing systemic policy changes, not individual punishments. Schedule a press conference for tomorrow at 10 a.m. Focus on industry-wide discrimination, prevention. Behind him, station manager Rodriguez organizes the terminated employees' final paperwork. Jessica Morrison and Brad Thompson face unemployment, professional reputation damage, and potential legal liability for their discriminatory actions. Security escorts Jessica and Brad through employee corridors toward the parking structure. Other SkyFirst staff watch their departure with mixture of curiosity and concern. Word spreads quickly through airline employee networks about discrimination terminations. Jessica clutches her final paycheck and termination letter, reading the official language. Employment terminated for violation of company anti-discrimination policy, Section 12.4. Effective immediately with cause. Brad attempts to maintain dignity during the humiliating exit. This will be overturned. Unions protect against wrongful termination. The security officer, Maria Santos, has worked LAX for 8 years and witnessed various employee dismissals. She responds without sympathy. Discrimination violations aren't protected by union contracts. You're done. In the parking garage, Jessica calls her roommate through tears. I lost my job. Everything's gone. It's all over social media. Her friend Jennifer watches Sarah Chen's live stream replay. Girl, you discriminated against the CEO of your own airline. This is national news. You're trending on Twitter. Richard Davidson sits in his black Mercedes, phone pressed to his ear with his company's general counsel. The conversation grows increasingly heated as legal implications become clear. Richard, Wellington Group holds significant voting rights in our company. They can influence board decisions, executive compensation, strategic partnerships. How was I supposed to know some random passenger owned our airline? That's exactly the problem. You treated him like some random passenger based on racial assumptions. Davidson's driver, Jorge Martinez, observes the conversation while navigating LAX traffic. He's transported hundreds of business executives and recognizes when powerful people face consequences for their behavior. Sir, maybe we should focus on damage control rather than justification. Davidson ends his call with corporate counsel, immediately dialing his public relations firm. We need crisis management. The airline incident is exploding across every platform. His PR director, Amanda Stone, has already reviewed the viral footage. Richard, there's no spinning this. You publicly supported discrimination against the airline's CEO. We're recommending immediate public apology and sensitivity training. Marcus returns to his temporary LAX office, where his team has assembled comprehensive policy reform documents. Chief Operating Officer Patricia Williams presents the discrimination prevention framework developed over the past 2 hours. We've drafted mandatory bias recognition training for all 12,000 SkyFirst employees, 40 hours annually with quarterly refresher sessions. She displays implementation timelines on a wall-mounted monitor. Training begins Monday across all hubs: Los Angeles, Chicago, Atlanta, Denver, simultaneously. Director of Human Resources Michael Torres adds legal compliance measures. We're installing real-time passenger feedback systems on every aircraft. Discrimination complaints trigger automatic investigation within 24 hours. The technology integration includes passenger-facing tablets in every seat, anonymous reporting capabilities, and direct communication with corporate compliance officers. Additionally, we're partnering with civil rights organizations for external auditing, monthly reviews of complaint patterns, employee behavior metrics, customer satisfaction correlation analysis. Marcus reviews the comprehensive reforms, ensuring each measure addresses systemic problems rather than individual incidents. Excellent. What's our scholarship fund status? Chief Financial Officer David Kim presents funding documentation. $500,000 annually for underrepresented students pursuing aviation careers. Partnerships established with Howard University, Tuskegee Airmen Foundation, and Women in Aviation International. Communications Director Lisa Chang monitors social media response to the incident. Sarah Chen's live stream footage has been viewed 847,000 times across platforms. SkyFirst accountability trends nationally on Twitter. Major news outlets are requesting statements. Good Morning America wants you for tomorrow's show. The View, Ellen, and Stephen Colbert have all reached out. Marcus considers the media opportunities strategically. Book Good Morning America, corporate accountability message, reaches our target demographic. He drafts talking points emphasizing industry-wide discrimination prevention rather than personal vindication. This incident represents systemic issues requiring comprehensive solutions. Throughout SkyFirst's operations network, employees receive emergency bulletins about updated anti-discrimination policies. The message comes directly from CEO Wellington, carrying unprecedented corporate authority. Flight attendant Maria Rodriguez in Chicago reads the company-wide email, effective immediately. Any discriminatory behavior results in immediate termination. No warnings, no second chances. Her colleague James Park discusses the implications during their crew briefing. 2 people lost their jobs in 1 day. Corporate's not playing games anymore. Ground staff at Denver International Airport review the policy changes during shift meetings. Supervisor Carol Martinez emphasizes the severity. Treat every passenger with identical respect. Your job depends on it. Attorney Rebecca Chen negotiates with federal regulators regarding FAA compliance measures. The discrimination incident triggers Department of Transportation oversight and potential civil rights investigation. DOT is requiring quarterly discrimination prevention reports. We'll submit passenger complaint data, employee training completion rates, and incident response timelines. She presents legal exposure analysis. Current incident exposure ranges from $2.00 $5 million in federal fines. Our proactive policy changes should minimize penalties. Marcus approves comprehensive legal compliance measures, full cooperation with federal oversight. We become the industry standard for discrimination prevention. Within hours of Sarah Chen's viral footage, 3 major airlines announced policy reviews. Delta, American, and United issue statements about discrimination tolerance and passenger rights protection. Aviation industry publication Flight Global reports, SkyFirst Airlines incident triggers sector-wide discrimination policy examination. Wellington Group's response sets new accountability standards. Marcus receives calls from fellow airline executives seeking guidance on bias prevention training programs. His company's crisis response becomes a template for industry-wide reform. At Los Angeles International Airport, ground crews discuss the incident during shift changes. Baggage handler Roberto Santos tells his supervisor, "That CEO handled it perfectly. No shouting, no threats, just consequences." TSA officers review their own anti-discrimination protocols, recognizing similar vulnerabilities in passenger screening procedures. The SkyFirst incident highlights aviation industry-wide bias problems. Passenger advocacy groups praise Marcus's systematic approach to discrimination prevention. Civil rights organizations request partnerships for ongoing oversight and policy development. SkyFirst Airlines stock price increases 8% in after-humans trading as investors respond positively to the comprehensive discrimination prevention measures. Financial analysts view the policy changes as risk mitigation for future discrimination lawsuits. Wellington Group's broader portfolio benefits from positive publicity surrounding corporate accountability and social responsibility leadership. Marcus reviews quarterly projections with CFO David Kim. Customer satisfaction should improve significantly. Discrimination complaints will decrease. Legal exposure drops substantially. The financial incentives align with moral imperatives, creating sustainable, systemic change rather than temporary public relations victories. As evening approaches, Marcus prepares to leave LAX corporate offices. His phone contains dozens of supportive messages from business leaders, civil rights advocates, and ordinary passengers who witness the live stream. One message from Sarah Chen reads, "Thank you for handling this with such dignity and wisdom. You've inspired real change." Marcus types back, "Thank you for documenting truth. Sunlight remains the best disinfectant for discrimination." He gathers his briefcase, containing the same documents that revealed his corporate authority during the flight attendant confrontation. The leather case now holds policy reforms that will prevent similar discrimination incidents across the aviation industry. Marcus's executive assistant confirms his schedule. Press conference at 10 a.m., Good Morning America at 7:15 a.m. EST via satellite, board meeting at 2 p.m. to finalize policy implementation. The media appearances will emphasize systematic change over personal vindication, industry-wide reform over individual punishment. As he exits the corporate building, Marcus passes arriving night shift employees reporting for duty. Each carries updated policy handbooks emphasizing dignity, respect, and equal treatment for all passengers. The discrimination that occurred at 30,000 feet has generated ground-level reform affecting thousands of employees and millions of passengers annually. Justice achieved through institutional change proves more powerful than individual revenge. 6 months later, Harvard Business School. Marcus Wellington stands before 200 graduate students in the prestigious Baker Library Auditorium. His presentation, Dignity in Business, Transforming Discrimination into Systemic Change, has drawn capacity crowds across top business schools nationwide. True leadership means building systems that prevent problems, not just solving them after they occur. The lecture hall's screens display SkyFirst Airlines transformation metrics. Customer satisfaction increased from 3.2 to 4.6 stars. Discrimination complaints dropped 78%. Legal settlement costs eliminated entirely. Professor Janet Morrison introduces the case study that's now taught in MBA programs globally. The SkyFirst Airlines incident demonstrates how individual dignity and corporate responsibility can align for sustainable change. Marcus clicks to the next slide, showing industry-wide adoption of his discrimination prevention framework. 47 Fortune 500 companies have implemented similar policies. The goal was never personal revenge. It was preventing the next person from experiencing humiliation at 30,000 feet. SkyFirst Airlines has become the aviation industry's gold standard for diversity and inclusion. The company's stock price increased 23% over 6 months, driven primarily by improved customer satisfaction and reduced legal exposure. Jessica Morrison and Brad Thompson faced career consequences but received opportunities for redemption. Jessica completed bias recognition certification and now works for a regional airline with exemplary passenger relations scores. Brad enrolled in diversity training and teaches customer service workshops, emphasizing dignity and respect. Their stories serve as cautionary tales throughout the airline industry, reminding employees that discrimination carries both moral and financial consequences. Richard Davidson issued public apologies and completed sensitivity training, but his business relationships never fully recovered. Davidson Industries lost 3 major contracts due to negative publicity, costing the company $12 million, 0 cents in annual revenue. His example demonstrates that discriminatory behavior damages both individuals and institutions, creating accountability throughout corporate hierarchies. The real-time passenger feedback systems installed on every SkyFirst aircraft have processed over 2.3 million evaluations. Customer satisfaction comments frequently praise respectful, dignified service, regardless of passenger background. Flight attendant Marcus treated everyone equally. Exactly what airline service should be. Best customer service experience I've had in years. Every passenger received identical respect. The Scholarship Fund for Underrepresented Aviation Students has awarded $500,000, 0 cents annually, supporting 127 students pursuing pilot licenses, aircraft engineering degrees, and airline management careers. Recipients include Sarah Chen, the travel blogger whose live stream documented the original discrimination. She completed flight attendant training with SkyFirst Airlines, bringing her advocacy experience to customer service excellence. The incident sparked conversations about implicit bias, corporate accountability, and systemic discrimination across multiple industries. Hotel chains, retail companies, and restaurant groups adopted similar policy frameworks. Marcus receives dozens of speaking requests monthly from organizations seeking guidance on discrimination prevention. His Wellington method emphasizes institutional change over individual punishment, creating sustainable cultural transformation. Change doesn't require anger. It requires strategy, persistence, and the courage to demand better systems. During quiet moments, Marcus reflects on the flight that changed an industry. His calm response to discrimination created ripple effects, touching millions of lives. The briefcase that revealed his corporate authority now contains policy documents shared with civil rights organizations, government agencies, and international aviation authorities. His dignity under pressure proved more powerful than confrontation, his systematic response more effective than emotional reaction. These real-life stories remind us that touching stories of injustice can spark Black stories of triumph. When life stories include discrimination, they can also include transformation. Individual experiences of bias become catalysts for institutional change when handled with strategic wisdom rather than reactive anger. Marcus's example demonstrates that corporate leaders have responsibilities beyond profit margins. They must create environments where dignity isn't conditional on appearance, background, or assumptions. Your story matters. Have you witnessed discrimination in your workplace, during travel, or in daily interactions? Share your experiences in the comments below. Your voice contributes to conversations that prevent future injustice. Subscribe for more stories of people who transformed challenges into systematic change. Together, we can build institutions that treat everyone with inherent dignity and respect. Share this video with friends, family, and colleagues who believe in accountability and equality. Every share amplifies the message that discrimination has consequences and dignity has power. The flight that began with humiliation ended with transformation. Your actions can create similar change in your community, workplace, and industry. Change doesn't require perfection. It requires persistent commitment to treating others with respect, regardless of their appearance or assumptions about their background. Together, we can ensure that stories like Marcus's become unnecessary because discrimination becomes unthinkable.